everyone, I'm Sheila Watko. Welcome back to Election 101. When I was a kid, I always thought voting was so simple. You vote for the person you want, and the one with the most votes wins. But no, there's this thing called the Electoral College, and today I'm going to explain how all that works. When voting for President of the United States, what's being counted is not each individual vote cast by each individual person. Instead, they're counting the votes based on each state's majority to vote Democratic or Republican. So if the majority of the people in your state vote Republican, your state's vote will be cast as Republican. Now this is where it gets a little tricky, but I'm going to try to break it down nice and easy for you. Not every state gets just one vote. States have a different number of votes based on its population. Here's how. First, every state starts off with 3 votes because every state has 2 senators, therefore every state is given 2 Senate votes. In addition, every state has at least 1 House of Representatives. Therefore, each state also gets at least 1 representative vote. Now, some states have more representative votes than others because this number is actually determined by the state's population. For example, the state of Wyoming is the least populated state in the U.S., housing only 0.18% of the country's population. Therefore, it is assigned only 1 representative, giving the state a total number of 3 votes, 2 from the Senate and 1 from the representative. In comparison, California is the most populated state and houses 12.07% of the whole country's population. Therefore, California is awarded 53 representatives, giving the state a total number of 55 votes. If the majority of California votes Democratic, the Democratic candidate gets all 55 votes. That's why your vote is so important. It can help decide whether your state's votes are for the Republican or Democratic candidate. This map here shows how many votes each state gets based on its population. If you add up the number of votes from each state, and Washington, D.C. is given the same amount of votes as the smallest state, the total number of votes that goes into the election is 538. Now, I know the question you're asking is why? Why do we even have the Electoral College? Well, this dates back to our founding fathers. They were afraid that a tyrant possibly could come to power by persuading the public opinion, and felt that it was necessary for the men most capable of analyzing the qualities to have some control in the voting process. In addition, the reason the representatives are determined by population is to spread out the voting power among the states. In the Electoral College, smaller states are actually given more electoral votes per person than larger states. If the votes were just according to each individual person, that would make the state of California a much more powerful state to win over than, say, Wyoming. Thus, candidates would aim all of their attention at the larger states. Although this system has been in place for centuries, it certainly isn't perfect. There are 2 main issues with the Electoral College. One main issue is that after a state has voted and the majority has won for either the Democratic or Republican Party, that outcome doesn't just go straight to the polls. There's a middleman, called an elector. So the majority vote, whether it be Democratic or Republican for each state, is given to the previously elected elector, and then the elector casts a new separate ballot for president and vice president in order to represent his or her state in the polls. However, it is not illegal for the elector to take it upon him or herself to cast Florida's votes as Republican or to not even vote at all. These electors are known as Faithless Electors, and there have been 157 instances of this in the past. 71 of these were due to the fact that the elector died before casting his state's votes. In 3 cases, the elector chose not to vote at all, and in 82 instances, the elector changed the state's vote based on personal views. The last time this happened was in 2000, when the Washington, D.C. elector decided not to vote in hopes to highlight her views that the district deserved more representation. Another big issue with the Electoral College is that the votes are only for the 50 states and the District of Columbia. This excludes the 4 major territories owned by the United States, and in turn denies over 4 million U.S. citizens the right to cast their vote. Now, there are certainly more extensive pros and cons of the Electoral College, but this is a great basic overview that will help you feel confident during election time. Thank you so much for watching Election 101, and I'll see you soon.